final 2 days of Sukkot is known as Shmini Atzeres and Simchat Torah. What is the meaning of Shmini Atzeres? What is the meaning of Simchat Torah? What is the source for this holiday? And why is it considered to be the most joyous day of the year when we dance with the Torah around the bima 7 times, and then we take the Torahs into the streets and we dance for 48 hours? What makes this day so special? We begin with the pshat, the simple interpretation, by looking into the Torah, and we find there are 2 verses that deal with this concept. One in the Torah portion, or the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse number 36. Over there it says in the Torah, B'yoyim hashemini, on the 8th day, Atzeres hi. On that day, we call it Atzeres, or Atzeres Tiyah Lechem. It's a day of Atzeres. What does Atzeres mean? Says Rashi, it's a day of, it's a day that Atzarti Eschem Etzli. It's a day that you are detained by me. Why? Because Kasha Lai Pridaschem, it's difficult for me to see you go away. And as Rashi gives an example of a king that had his children over for 7 days, and now before they're about to leave, he says, spend 1 more day with me before you go away. So this is the concept of Atzeres. Spend 1 more day before you go away. And when you look at the holidays, you think about the Jews going up to Jerusalem, to the Holy Temple. They were there for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and then the holiday of Sukkot. So now, the last day, God says, let's make a party. Before you go away, let's just get together and hang out. Kasha lai pridaschem, it's difficult for me to see that you are separating. Then you have a pasuk that talks about simcha. And that is a pasuk in Deuteronomy that it says, V'hayisa ach sameach. It says, you shall rejoice in your festival for 7 days. And then the pasuk concludes, and you will only be happy. What does it mean, only be happy? So here the commentaries tell us that this hints to the final days of Sukkot. Yom Tov ha'acharein l'simcha. That these are the final days of joy. In other words, that the last 2 days of Sukkot is a holiday on its own, as the Gemara says in the Tractate of Sukkah, page 48, side A, that the final days of Sukkot is not an extension of Sukkot, but rather it's a new holiday. And the word ach only comes to divide. It comes to divide between the first 7 days and the final days. It's a new holiday. Ach sameach, and we call this Simchat Torah. So this is the simple interpretation. In general, all major holidays like Passover and Shavuos and Sukkot are holidays of joy. And as the Rambam explains in mitzvah number 54, how does one rejoice today on these holidays? So it says that men rejoice by drinking wine, and women by the fact that they receive new clothing. And the same is true with children, that we give the children things which they like, which are sweets and fruits and candies, and also new garments as well. So this is the concept of simcha, to truly add to the festivals true joy, and which also includes having guests in one home. That it's important that we invite guests to our home so that we share the simcha with others as well. So this is the concept of simcha on a simple level, pshat. What is the remez? So the Even Ezra says that the concept of ach sameach, only joy, represents a time in the future when the world will only experience joy. now all of our joy is also somewhat mixed with other aspects of difficulty and hardship, etc., etc. And even the joy itself is limited somewhat. However, ach sameach, only joy, unlimited joy, unbridled joy, this will be when Mashiach comes. So on Simchat Torah we get a taste of the world to come. What is drush, homiletics, or halacha? The word ach sameach, only joy. Why are we so joyous on this day? So we find that in the code of Jewish law, the Ramah in chapter 669 tells us that the real joy here that we're celebrating is the joy of the completion of the Torah. Just like when a person finishes a tractate of the Talmud, they make a siyum, they make a party. And even today in the yeshiva, when a boy learns how to read, they make him a siddur party, or they make him a chumash party because now he finished one chumash and they give him a new chumash. Or he finished the Aleph Beis and now they're buying him a siddur. So it's a siyum, a completion of an exercise of a subject in Torah. So now on Simchat Torah that we complete all 5 books of Moses that we studied and we read over the last 53 Shabbosim, Gan Parshiot. There are 53 portions of the Torah that allude to the word Gan. Gan equals 53, the garden of the Torah. So now we celebrate this great day of finishing the Torah. And then he goes on to say, how do we celebrate this? By the fact that we dance with the Torah. We take all the Torahs out of the ark and we dance around the bima. And we do this, we know, 7 times. And he says, really, every community has their minhagim, has their concepts. And in truth, the Chabad minhag is to celebrate the dancing of the Torah on Shmini Atzeres, and then the next night on Simchat Torah, and then the following morning again, the day of Simchat Torah. 3 times, which is 3 times, says the Gemara, is a chazaka. When you do something 3 times, it becomes real. It becomes solidified. And therefore we bring this joy into the rest of the year. So this is the concept of halacha that was introduced, or revealed rather, by the Ramah, which lived in Krakow, Poland, in the 1500s. So the concept of hakafis that we know today, of dancing with the Torah and Simchat Torah, is something really that is fairly new. And the question is, why was it revealed only 500 years ago? Or a little bit before that? We move on to the concept of soid, which is the esoteric level of Torah. What is the concept of dancing in circles? Says the Arizal that the reason why we dance in circles is reminiscent of the Jews when they were led by Joshua into the land of Israel. They marched in circles around the walls of Jericho, and after they marched 7 times, the walls collapsed. And similarly, on this day, we march around the imaginary walls, the walls that separate man and God, the walls of sin that separate the Creator from the creation. And now, by dancing 7 times around these walls, we break these walls, and these walls collapse, and now there's nothing separating man and God. This is the concept of a kafis, based on the teachings of the Kabbalah. What does Chassidus say about all this? In truth, Chassidus says a lot about it, because it's only one day, it's ach sameach, it's only joy. It's a 48-hour holiday that has so much going for it and so much that it represents. So first and foremost, the last 2 days of Sukkot, which we call Shmini Atzeres, Simchat Torah, which is really a holiday on its own, always falls out the same 2 days as Rosh Hashanah. For example, this year Rosh Hashanah was Thursday and Friday. Simchat Torah is also Thursday and Friday. It's always these 2 days, which reminds us of the teaching of the Frierdiker Rebbe that what a person cannot accomplish Rosh Hashanah with tears, he can accomplish on Simchat Torah with joy. But more in particular, we're told that the first day of Rosh Hashanah is the day that God signs or writes the book. It's basically writing the order. The second day of Rosh Hashanah is the day that God sends the order. When do we receive the order? Shmini Atzeres. When you're waiting for an order so long and you finally get it, you become very excited. On Simchat Torah, on Shmini Atzeres, we receive the order. Atzeres does not only mean to be detained, but Atzeres also means kalita, which means absorption and intake. This is the day that we finally absorb the blessings that we prayed for on Rosh Hashanah. The next day, Simchat Torah, we finally open the package. So now the joy is even more. In Israel, Shmini Atzeres Simchat Torah is 1 day. But outside of Israel, in the diaspora, we need 2 days because we need more light. In Israel, we have Eini Hashem Elokecha ba Mereish Hashanah vad Achris Hashanah. The eyes of God are upon the land from the beginning of the year until the end of the year. So the eyes of God are there. You only need 1 day to bring this joy. Outside of Israel, it explains in Kabbalah that we get our vitality and our existence and our energy from the Ayin Sarim, from the 70 angels or the 70 princes. And because of that, the light is diminished. It goes through this filter of these 70 angels, and now the light is filtered and the light becomes darker. And because we are in this darker place, we need more light to be able to transform the darkness. And so, we have 2 days of holiday instead of 1. From the first day of Rosh Hashanah until Shemini Atzeres, we have 21 days. The Medrash tells us it takes 21 days for the almond to grow, to bud. It's the fastest growing fruit, is the almond. And here we're told that once you pray on Rosh Hashanah day 1, within 21 days, already you have Shemini Atzeres, you have the absorption and the intake of the blessing. It's a very quick return. And already we begin to rejoice because we see the fruit of our labor. We see how God has answered our prayers. And similarly, Simchat Torah is 21 days after the second day of Rosh Hashanah. And therefore the joy becomes even greater because we are able to open the package and truly experience this blessing. Furthermore, Atzeres, we said earlier, means God detains the Jews 1 more day. He says, you were with me all these days, and now let's spend 1 more day together. So the Rebbe asks a question. Makes no sense. Tomorrow, anyways, they're leaving. And they're separating from you. So what's the difference if they go today or tomorrow? Anyway, we were together the whole week, or more than that. And furthermore, it should have said, Kasha alai pridaseinu, our separation. God and the Jews are separating. Why pridaschem, your separation? And as the Rebbe explains, that in truth, God never separates from a Jew. God is always with you, wherever you go, wherever you find yourself. In Jerusalem, in Israel, or anywhere in Zimbabwe or Brooklyn or Boston. A Jew always has God with him. However, what is difficult is pridaschem. God tells the Jew, it is difficult for me to see how you are severing your relationship from the other Jew. Till now you came to shul with your friends once a year on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and you daven together. And then Sukkot, you came and you held the 4 species together, alluding to the 4 different types of Jewish people. And Aguda Achas, and you held them together in one bond, in one knot. But now you're leaving. Now you're separating from one the other. How are we certain that this bond is going to remain with you for the rest of the year? So now we have one more day that we celebrate. But we don't celebrate with the 4 species. Because even though the celebration of the 4 species is a very high unity, it's a unity of Aguda Achas, 4 different types of Jews united as one. However, we clearly discern one Jew from the other. You are the Esrig, you are the Lulav, you are the Arava, you have no scent and no taste. You may be the Hadas, you have a little smell but no taste. And you have this and you have that. We're already dividing the Jews even though we are uniting the Jews. Comes along Simchat Torah and now we say there's no separation between us. We're not only united through a mitzvah, we are united because we are essentially one and there's no difference between me and you. And that's why we dance in a circle. In a circle there's no head and there's no feet. We're all equal. Because essentially we're all part of God. Essentially we are all part of one big soul. And therefore we complement one the other. We complete one the other. And if you are not part of me and I'm not part of you, we are both incomplete. And therefore when God sees how the Jewish people are truly united as one on this day of Shmini Atzeres, Simchat Torah, this creates a greater bond between the Jew, which creates a greater joy, and now God has greater joy. Furthermore, how do we dance? We dance with a closed Sefer Torah. We don't open it. If it's truly as the Ramah tells us, have Moshe Isserlish in the Code of Jewish Law in chapter 669 that was celebrating the completion of the Torah. So, open the Torah. We should have all night learning. Oh, that's a holiday of Shavuos. It's a different holiday. Why don't we have all night of learning on Simchat Torah? Open up the Torah. We should read from the Torah, explain the Torah, all night sermons and drushes and lectures. And we should go through every aspect of the Torah, of the prophets, of the writings, of the oral law, of the Talmud, of the Code of Jewish Law, of Kabbalah, of Chassidus. We're celebrating the completion of the Torah. Yet how do we celebrate? We celebrate with a closed Torah. And we call it Simchat Torah. Why is it called Simchat Torah? On one hand, we are celebrating with the Torah. On the other hand, we're bringing joy to the Torah. Now what does that mean? Why is it so joyous? One more question. We explained that Simchat Torah is a holiday on its own. And therefore, we make a Shehecheyanu on Simchat Torah. In contrast to the final days of Passover, when we do not make a Shehecheyanu, because it's a continuation of the first days of Passover. But Shmini Atzeres Simchat Torah is a new holiday. So therefore, we make a Shehecheyanu. Now the previous Rebbe said, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak said, that the Shehecheyanu is not only on Yom Tiv, is not only for the holiday, but the Shehecheyanu is also on the Torah. We're making a Shehecheyanu on the Torah. Now a Shehecheyanu is generally made on something new. But the Torah is something old. It was given to us over 3,300 years ago. Number two, we're supposed to study Torah every day. So what kind of a Shehecheyanu do we make? And he explains, number one, the Shehecheyanu is that we are learning Torah now with a new hischatshus. In other words, we take upon ourselves a resolution that this year we're going to learn Torah with new vitality, new excitement, new depth, new understanding. So we make a Shehecheyanu. Number two is, we are making the bracha because we're celebrating a level of Torah that's beyond intellect. On one level, Torah is intellect. On the other level, As it says in the book of Proverbs, King Solomon tells us, what is the Torah? The Torah is sha'ashuyim lefanov. The Torah is God's delight, God's toys that he plays with, that he finds delight in. Delight is an attribute which is beyond intellect. Intellect is somewhat limited. Delight, however, has no limitation. So we're not celebrating the intellect of Torah, which each person has a limitation of how much Torah knowledge he has or can ascertain, but rather we celebrate a level that we are one with God, because this is God's delight. And similarly, we dance with a closed Sefer Torah. Why do we dance with a closed Sefer Torah? On one hand, we're showing that we're not dancing with the intellect of the Torah. We're dancing with the Torah itself. We're dancing with God's delight. This is our connection with God. And that connection is beyond Torah. This is our marriage, our ketubah, so to speak. This is our connection with God. And that's why we're dancing. We don't open the Torah, because then we're showing that our connection with God is somewhat limited. The more I know, the greater the connection. No, it's a closed Torah. Why? Because it's God's delight. It's a connection that's beyond intellect, and therefore it has no bounds, it has no limitations. Number two, the polar opposite is that when we dance with a closed Sefer Torah, we can unite all Jews. Because when you open this Torah, you become intimidating. I can't read Hebrew. I can't make a blessing. This is not for me. I never went to Hebrew school. Excuse me. We are dancing with a closed Sefer Torah. It doesn't matter if you read Hebrew or you don't read Hebrew. It doesn't matter if you went to Hebrew school or you didn't go to Hebrew school. It doesn't matter if you studied the Torah or not. This is your possession. This is your inheritance. It belongs to you, the whole book, the whole Torah. If you understand it or not, it's yours. As we know that a child, even 1 day old, can inherit his grandfather's mansion and his grandfather's treasures that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars. The child need not understand what he's inheriting. It belongs to you. And on Simchat Torah, we rejoice with the Torah. We tell every Jew, this is your Torah. The whole book is yours. And we dance with our feet. Not with our heads, with our feet. When it comes to the feet, it's the lowest common denominator. Everybody can dance. From the biggest scholar to the simple layman, we are all one thing. It doesn't matter how much we know. We are all connected to the Torah. We are all connected to God's delight. So this is what makes the joy an unlimited joy. It's not a joy that is based on knowledge, which is confined to limitation, but rather it's a joy that is based on the delight that God has chosen us. It is based on the delight that God loves us and He loves the Torah. And this is not measured by knowledge and understanding and how much Torah we have learned. And furthermore, this also connects us with the ultimate geula, the ultimate redemption. When Mashiach will come, it says it's going to be Simchas Olam al Roshah. It's going to be a continuous joy. Now there are good moments and bad moments. However, after Mashiach comes, the world will experience only ach sameach, only joy. Now, how can you only have joy? You get bored of it after a while. So therefore, we must say that every moment the joy increases. Because if not, I already got used to it, it's no longer joyous. So it's only going to be joy, ach sameach, and each moment the joy is going to become more intense and more delightful and greater. It's interesting to note that the Rebbe once said that Mashiach are the oisius, are the letters of sameach, yud. Joy plus the letter yud. When a Jew rejoices with all 10 attributes of his soul, the 3 intellectual and 7 emotional, his entire body is totally pervaded with joy, then that is Mashiach. And on this holiday of Simchat Torah, we get a taste of the world to come. We get a taste of this unlimited joy. And that is why we are told when Mashiach will come, all the other holidays will be nullified besides the holiday of Purim. Purim is a joyous day because it's all about joy. And the joy of Simchat Torah is even greater than the joy of Purim. Because in essence, there are three levels of joy. We have the level of the holidays, when it says, V'samachta b'chagecha, you shall rejoice in your holidays. And of the three holidays, Sukkot was considered to be the most joyous. That's a mitzvah in the Torah. Then you have a mitzvah of the rabbis, which is Purim. And Purim is even a greater joy. And then you have a third level of joy, which is not even a rabbinic commandment, but rather a minhag, a custom, and therefore it's unlimited. And that is the dancing with the Torah and Simchat Torah. So therefore, on Simchat Torah, we experience this eternal bond between man and man and God. And all of the divisions and all of the walls are stripped down and are taken down. And the Jewish people are one, and God and the Jews are one. And therefore, there's no reason to have any animosity or any broigis or to be upset or angry, because we're truly one big family under God. Many years ago, I had the great honor and zchus to be at the Hakafis of the Rebbe. If you never witnessed the Hakafis in 770 by the Rebbe on Simchat Torah, you have never seen Simchat Torah in your life. Thousands upon thousands of people were there, and the Rebbe used to come in, and it was like the splitting of the Red Sea. And the singing and the joy was so thick, you were able to cut it with a knife. I used to be on the bleachers on top, and you were able to see the smoke from the sweat just coming up. It was just an amazing, intense evening. And it was around Tafshin Nun, must have been September of 1989. And I went down for a few minutes from the bleachers to give someone else a chance to see. And all of a sudden I see a guy pointing at me. I said, what? Bob Dylan. Who? This guy is Bob Dylan? I never saw Bob Dylan in my life. I see a short guy wearing a black suit, a Hamburg, a white shirt, and he's supposed to be Bob Dylan. He's a short guy. I say, excuse me, Bob, you want to see the Rebbe? He says, yeah, I would like to see the Rebbe. I said, fine. So I put him on my shoulders, and I'm jumping with him like this, up and down. Yeah. And he's like watching, he's getting a little excited. And like after 10 minutes, he goes, okay, you can put me down now. Okay, I put him down. I'm so excited. Bob Dylan on my shoulders. I can't believe it. I say, Bob, tell me, can I be of any service for you? I mean, can I do anything else for you? He said, yeah. Where's the men's room? And I took him to the men's room, and I made sure he got out okay. And since that day, I never washed my right shoulder. So this is Simchat Torah. It's a night or 48 hours that is really the mitochondria of joy for the entire year. And because it's so powerful, and because we have the ability to draw all the blessings for the entire year, boundless blessings, and blessings primarily connected with joy. And we know that Chassidus says, Simcha poiritz geder, that it's through joy we could break through all boundaries. We understand that these 48 hours should be really used to the fullest. Don't sleep too much, and don't waste too much time, but put all your time into dancing and rejoicing and spending with your friends, and to truly access all of the potential of this day and to truly be blessed with a year of simcha, a year of joy and happiness and delight in everything that you do, and the ultimate joy, the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days.